Hello, my name is Katherine Briley, and this is the rest of my design work. In this section of my portfolio, I put all the designs that may have not fit into previous categories. This includes books, t-shirts, simple flyers and posters, and just a lot of miscellaneous design items. A lot of these items are a lot of my early work, so I'm going to really go into depth of what they taught me, what the struggles were, and really how it shaped me as a designer today. This first project was a book cover, and this was for a school project. The teacher chose a book and we designed, which was really good practice for further, you don't choose what content a client wants you to make, so it was really good practice for that. It really had a lot of violent aspects in the book, as well as a lot of war themes and a lot of, there was cannibalism and different things, so I had the idea of having planes crash and have the smoke be blood and have that old wartime map in the background, so I pulled colors directly from World War II themed uniforms, art, books, etc. This was the first actually poster I ever created, and it was for the cosplay club, which I was the designer for at the time. I really wanted this poster to catch people's eye while they were walking down the hallways at school, so I chose a really neat photo, and then also the black and white contrast of the words. This project was for Stone Summit Climbing and Fitness Center. I actually didn't do this whole poster, I just did the illustrations, but this was the first time I experimented with turning traditional art, hand-drawn art, into vectors, and so that was a really good experience for future design projects. This next design was for when I was working for Georgia State University's sports marketing division. I really didn't know much about sports, and I really wanted to go in with a fresh view of, trying to make posters that didn't look like the, run-of-the-mill sports poster, something that you would cliche think of when you think of a sports poster. So I really worked a lot with and learned a lot about different technical aspects of the program I was working with. This poster was also for Stone Summit Climbing and Fitness Center. It was one of the first posters I ever made, and they needed a Thanksgiving hour poster, and I really wanted to so the company's colors are blue and orange, and I wanted to include that in there without being too cheesy about it. This was, I believe, one of the earlier projects for when I was in school for graphic design, and this was a flyer for a Julius Caesar play that was happening on campus. And we were challenged to, we were only supposed to use type in this poster, but we were challenged to use type in very interesting ways. So we created two posters for this play. The first one, we could use different sizes, different colors, different, bold italics. But for the second one, we only could use one size. So we had to play around with what we call kerning, which is spacing in between letters, and leading, and just different types of other aspects of the font, different from size, to kind of show the hierarchy of text and bring the viewer's eyes to different spots. When it comes to the coloring, I really wanted to not go too corny with the coloring. When you think of Julius Caesar, you think of the murder. And so with one of them, I did the red and kind of went the classic route. And the other one, I went more with a Roman, I looked at a lot of Roman art and a lot of Roman statues and kind of got this light purplish gray. This was a movie poster we created in the graphic design program while I was in school, and we chose a movie quote. I chose a quote from a scene, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and the reason I chose that quote was it has a lot of interesting aspects, feelings, a lot of different feelings that the characters are having that I thought would be a challenge to portray onto the text. Pride and Prejudice are not exactly obvious emotions that are easily displayed, and there's a lot of sarcasm in the conversation in this scene, so it was definitely a challenge to try to get that sarcasm and some anger and some pride and some prejudice and just lots of the feelings they were feeling out onto the page without making it too overwhelming. I really went through a lot of different routes. I went through a lot of different routes with this project, because at first I went, a lot of the type aspects I put in were not quite what I wanted, and I went in and changed it later. This next project was another project I did for school. It was a poster for a local event, and I chose Japan Fest. I really wanted to have fun with using different aspects of Japanese culture, but not going you know, some people, when they think of Japan, they think of some obvious things, you know, sushi, they think of, you know, kimonos, and I really didn't want to go with the obvious. I really wanted to put a lot of Japanese culture in there that would both appeal to people who didn't know about Japanese culture, but also appeal to the people who went to the festival as, you know, this is my culture. So I went with a lot of coloring from ancient Japanese art, so I did a lot of research and pulled colors from those, and then a lot of hand-drawn to vector graphics that I then vectorized and subtracted from different elements of the poster itself. This last project was really fun. This was for Ace Ape, which was, or is, excuse me. This is for Ace Ape, which is a online company, or I think they're also based in Colorado, that sells hemp and CBD infused products, such as food, oils, etc. And the real challenge for this, well, there was a few challenges for this project. One, they didn't want to be too in your face about what they sell, since it's a little bit controversial, excuse me. But then they also wanted me to write the content. So I hadn't really written a lot of content for clients in the past before this project, and it really helped me kind of put on the shoes of the client and be like, this is, you know, make it feel like this is my company. What would I want if I was the owner of this company, and really be able to write content for my client. And then I did a lot of different designs for my client. I did a few that were a little bit more in your face about what the client sells, for people who, you know, were a lot more adamant about, you know, the social issues going on here, but then also ones that weren't too obvious for people who liked the products but didn't really want to get on the political side of the, you know, debate about the products, but still wanted to show off their loyalty to the company. So there was a lot of using the you know, gorilla, and using that kind of imagery, but also using a nature imagery, because, you know, Colorado is a very outdoorsy type of, you know, state in general, lots of climbing, lots of hiking, etc. And then another struggle was the client gave me a mood board and said, hey, I want something geometric, I want something very simple, very modern. And so kind of taking that mood board and trying to find what the client imagined, and then also applying those to my designs, was a challenge, and honestly a lot of fun. So I really did enjoy this project a lot. Thank you for watching this portfolio, and if you would like to hire me for your designs, please contact me on the contact form at the bottom of my website. Thanks!